Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start off a little bit out of order on our agenda this evening, and we are going to ask Alderman-elect Haas to come up and take his oath. And to take that oath, we will need the Honorable Judge Murphy to also come up.
Should we all stand?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay, easy there.
Yeah.
All right, now that we are back at full strength, I will ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky. Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst. Here. Reinke.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. Alderman Dan Rowe will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Earthquake. I saw that. I'm like, really?
That was weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to item E on our agendas. We have two items up for public hearing this evening. I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on the special use permit for an outdoor extension of premise at Craig's Pub and Eatery located at 7100 West National Avenue.
Mr. Stiebel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first public hearing has to do with Craig's Pub and Eatery. That building was built around 1932. It's zoned C2, and an extension of the premise of a tavern and a multi-family property requires a special use, and that's the purpose of this amendment this evening, is to approve for the public hearing on that amendment. The proposal is to extend the premises to an outdoor dining area, which would be about 1,200 square feet. The existing floor plate is about 2,700 square feet. The outdoor patio or concrete slab would actually be in this area. It'd have wrought iron 4 foot on the north and the south on the street ends, and then approximately about an 8-foot high board-on-board fence that'd be tapered as it comes down this area. The hill kind of slides down in that area. It would look similar to a previous one that we've done in the area for outdoor dining, except that there'll be a 4 or 5 foot setback, which would be a landscaped area in this particular area. The Plan Commission has reviewed this project and has recommended approval, and if you have any questions, I or the owner will be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Do we have any questions from the Common Council on public hearing number 1? Okay, seeing none.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Alderman Probst.
Mr. Siebel, do we have any hours of operation for the outside?
I believe it's 10 p.m.
Till 10. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from the Common Council? Okay, seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit amendment by Elite Environmental, a wastewater treatment facility to locate its business within a portion of the existing building at 356 through 360 South Curtis Road.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This particular site on Curtis Road is in a manufacturing zoned area, but because of the particular use, it's a special use, and therefore the purpose of this public hearing. Currently operating in there is a waste disposal company, a wastewater treatment company, and the proposal is to allow for an additional one on this particular site. Some of the things that they want to change over the current special use that's currently approved and the proposed special use, initially the operator was only going to have 6 trucks per day, so that's how it was established. But now that there's an additional tenant, there's a lot more trucks, and so we need to modify that. And then the hours of operation were somewhat limited, and the new petition would be to expand the operation significantly from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. The biggest issue, or one of the bigger issues on this site, is the amount of wastewater that's being disposed of. The current special use has a maximum limit of 22,000 gallons per day with a maximum flow rate of 80 gallons per minute. The proposal is to eliminate the 22,000 gallons per day, but to keep the maximum flow rate at 80 gallons per minute, which I believe is about half the capacity of the existing sanitary sewer pipe. The purpose of the limit is to make sure that the flows do not surcharge the pipe and then get additional contamination in other areas or odor in other areas. Elite has about 16,000 square feet, which is the current special use for. Central Wastewater has about 6,000, and then between the two, there is a mezzanine area that has about an additional 6,000 square feet. On the proposed site plan, the Plan Commission has not reviewed this. We're holding it because of some other issues I'll talk about in a minute. We're going to take a closer look at the site plan, but the proposal is to landscape the area that abuts Curtis Road here. This particular property is sandwiched between a current building owned by the same ownership that has a bread company, adult daycare company, and an environmental geotechnical firm in there. Abutting this property to the east is We Energies. They have a number of facilities in that particular area. One of the issues that we are investigating, and the reason that we will not be taking any action on this special use this evening, is the problem that we're currently experiencing with odor that's being emanated from the facility. We Energies has had a number of instances that they have reported complaints on it. We've also had some complaints from some of the abutting properties to the north and to the south, and we are currently investigating that with the health department, and we're also bringing in EPA, DNR, and public health to try to get a handle on where is the source of that fumes that are coming off there, and either stop this or not approve the special use, or possibly even revoke the existing special use. The Plan Commission, as I noted, has not opined on this yet, and so we'll be holding this for the Plan Commission and for the conclusion of the investigations. If you have any additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this item? Seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience on this item? If there are, we ask that you use the microphone on the podium here, and please state your name and address for our record, and also sign in on the clipboard.
Already signed in. My name is John Sheriff. I'm the owner of CWT Wisconsin, one of the tenants in this building. The original special use permit was applied for and given to me 10 years ago. Elite Environmental moved into the building approximately 6 years ago, and failed at that time to get an occupancy permit or to be aware of the special use permit. They are now trying to correct that, which is fine. The other issue that has come up is the odor issue with We Energies, and I know that it is a serious issue. And I think part of what is in this proposed new special use permit is addressing that odor issue by including a paragraph on nuisance, which was not in the original special use permit, which I received. The problem that I have with the nuisance clause is that it has no parameters for determining who, if anyone, is at fault for the odors. In other words, if it's our company or if it's Elite Environmental, there's nothing put in there that says, okay, who's responsible for it? It basically says if there's a nuisance and it's complained about 3 times in a 6-month period, the special use permit for the building can be revoked. And that concerns me greatly. And that is one of the reasons I'd like to address that when we get to the point of actually voting on it. Any questions for me?
Thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
That was it. Any other questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay. On it now? Okay. Alderman Barzak had asked, just for everybody's edification, we're not ignoring you, we're just not allowed to respond at this point due to potential violations of the open meeting laws.
Yes, I'm Jeff Shimoleski. I represent We Energies. I'm the Milwaukee Area Facility Manager. I represent 3 properties that are over in that location. One is directly, actually 3 buildings are directly east of the building we're talking about tonight. That's located on 345 South 116th Street. We appreciate the support we've been getting from the City of West Dallas in getting the odor issue resolved, but we have not seen any improvement whatsoever. And for the first time last year, we did have it impact 2 of our other buildings that are further east of the building that primarily sees the brunt of the odors that come from that building.
Thanks for your comments.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item?
Yes. My name is David Marsek. I'm at 232 South Curtis Road, directly north of this building. For the longest time, year or more, my employees and myself have been complaining about the smell. We didn't know where it's originating exactly. I went over to the building one time, and both tenants pointed the finger at each other of who's making the smell. So that's really about it.
Thanks for your comments. Are there any other questions or comments on this item for public hearing this evening?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Reinke?
if I could ask a question quickly.
Sure. Yes.
We're concerned with the odors. John, have the odors existed before this particular business moved in?
The Department of Development has recently become aware of the odor issue. We were unaware of it before. In talking with We Energies, they have been talking to one of our former plumbing inspectors about the issue, but the rest of us were not made aware of it until recently. So we suspect it's been a problem that's been ongoing for a while. That problem will stop one way or the other. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and it will no longer be an issue. And that's why we're having the health department, along with EPA, DNR, OSHA, whomever we need to bring in to get to the bottom of it.
I see. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Shimoleski?
Yeah, I'd like to speak again. We've been tracking this odor issue for at least the last 6 years.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
My name is Kevin Crosby, president of Elite Environmental. As far as, I want to be on record, as far as our neighbors, We Energies, neighbors to the north, Toronto, any of our neighbors, and whatever makes sense for anybody here that's having an issue with the odor, that they partner with West Dallas themselves and coordinate tours at our facility. I want to address that we have an open door. I'm happy to take anybody through to take a look at our facility and how things are operated and maintained and the manner in which we conduct our business. So however that could be arranged, I encourage anybody that has these issues to seek the right person in West Allis, and come through and perhaps that would link any odor with the odors you're experiencing, and perhaps that would put this to bed and resolve this in a prompt manner.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on public hearing number 2? Okay, seeing none, we will close our second public hearing and move on to item F on your agendas, which is citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. We ask that you limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes. Is there anybody who wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we will close citizen participation. We will move on to item E on our agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. The room numbers are listed on page 2 on your agendas, which bring us up to item H, the mayor's report this evening. Couple things I want to announce. Last Thursday, I was joined by First District aldermen and representatives from the Burnham Point Neighborhood Association to formally announce the Neighborhood Association's program. This was one of the initiatives I had lined up for 2014. We have information in the form of pamphlets available from the Development Department or from your elected officials. And I do want to thank Fox 6 News for once again showing up to cover something positive in our community. I also want to welcome Weather Pro Exteriors to West Allis. They had a grand opening recently on the 1800 block of Highway 100. They do roofing, siding, windows, doors, things like that, and they also brought 30 new jobs to our city. I had my first installation of Coffee with the Mayor at Urban Joe Cafe last week. I want to thank the people that showed up. It was a small group. We had a good discussion for about an hour and a half, and I will be doing the next round this coming Monday, the 21st, also at Urban Joe's. I've also been in contact with the West Allis Cheese and Sausage Shop, as well as Coffee Works, to move it around to all of our caffeine joints in town. Coming up this Saturday, as some of you know, is a citywide cleanup. Join the West Allis Police Department. It begins at 9 in the morning at the Police Department Satellite Station on 69th and National to help clean up our city. Lunch will be sponsored, and lunch will follow, and it is sponsored by Papa John's. And if there's any questions, you can call the Crime Prevention Department at the police. Patty is at 302-8050. And we have a lot of scout troops and a lot of neighborhood groups that are going to be going to all corners of the city to collect all the garbage that collected under the snow over the winter. And lastly, on Friday the 11th, I attended a memorial ceremony along with representatives from the West Allis Fire Department for the 3 children who died in a house fire last year on April 11th. A lot of the veterans in the fire departments say that this was easily the worst fire that they've experienced in the decades with the department. It was a very somber day, but at this, I'd also like to mention, if you didn't do it during daylight savings time when you're supposed to, just remind everybody this might be another chance to check your smoke detector batteries and make sure that they're working. That concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May?
We do that every time.
You get it this week.
Every time. Thank you. I just want to mention a couple of events attended and a couple upcoming events. On April 2nd, I was able to give a presentation on engineering at the Career Fair at Frank Lloyd Wright Intermediate, and on the 9th, I was able to give a similar presentation at West Milwaukee Intermediate with students from Lincoln Intermediate there as well. So I think by the end of this school year, I think I may have covered just about every high school and middle school about engineering. So hopefully we'll be able to we'll have some jobs for all these engineers soon. Upcoming events, Friends of La Follette Park this Saturday as well. They're having a pancake breakfast from 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning. That's at the La Follette Park Pavilion. It's $3 for kids, $5 for adults, and the hunt is at 11 o'clock. So if you can't make breakfast because you're at the cleanup, maybe you can be done in time and head to that Easter egg hunt.
Cleanup Saturday.
Cleanup's this Saturday, so is the Friends of La Follette Park.
Oh, I thought it was on Sunday.
Same day.
All right.
That's okay. And then lastly, tomorrow, I was invited by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, I'm actually a transportation engineer, to attend their traffic engineering workshop and transportation planners forum. It's held every year. It's sort of the big event held by the Wisconsin section. And I'm going to be giving a presentation on my perspectives of the field of transportation engineering now that I've been an elected official, and maybe how things have changed and some of my opinions. I plan on talking a little bit about Highway 100 and some of my opinions on that as well. So I just wanted to make everyone aware. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Probst.
I have received a great number of phone calls now that the snow has melted from neighbors who are not very appreciative of the things that they find under the melted snow that have wandered from their yard into a neighbor's yard. So I'm asking everyone, specifically in the 2nd District, but actually in the entire city, look around your yard. Pick up the things that the snow has now allowed us to see that we may have forgotten about, because that nice thick blanket covered it up and took it out of sight, out of mind, but now it's back in sight, and it should be back in mind. Also had the opportunity last weekend, unfortunately, to see the fire department in action. Very chilling. Another fire occurred across the street from the fire that the mayor just spoke of, where we lost those 3 little kids last year. And it was frightening for me, just as a neighbor, to have smelled the smoke. I was sitting in my living room, I smelled it, I got up and I walked outside, heard all the sirens. The report that came in to the police, or to the fire department that night, was that there were 6 children in this house. There were no kids home. Then the house was empty. So I think it's really very important that when we make phone calls on 911, that we give the best possible information that we can to the first responders that are going to be out there. Okay? That may have changed some of the response. And I just think it's really a responsibility of each one of us when we use those emergency services to be as accurate as possible. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Alderman Probst. Are there any other comments or reports from the alder people this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Reinke.
I'd just like to give a quick update on Cleveland Avenue, what's going on there. The gas main work basically is being done by, is being done by We Energies. All the people along Cleveland Avenue have been notified via letter. I have to say that if there's any complaints, they should be calling We Energies according to the letter, not the city. The city is not involved in this other than to allow them to do this work. Basically, the work, depending on the weather, of course, the weather has been horrendous. And so the project has been delayed at least 2 weeks. But they have indicated that possibly, again, if the weather holds out, the barrels should be removed by the end of April. So we're hoping for that. I really, really can't thank the residents enough for their patience. This is quite a project, and if there are any complaints regarding mailboxes or driveways, please call We Energies again, and not the city engineers, because We Energies is the responsible party. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wait. Secondly,
Carry on.
I'd like to publicly welcome my new partner, my new colleague to the council. It's been 4 long months that I've been the Lone Ranger, and it is certainly nice to have a partner again to share his wisdom with me and to collaborate. So I really can't say enough that I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, President. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I'd like to thank the mayor and also the city administrator for their help during this 4 months, because they've helped me along the way, and I do appreciate it.
Back to full strength. Are there any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of April 1st, 2014.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Probst. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item K in your agendas, I'll ask for a motion to place item 3 on file and refer items 4 through 8 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Alderman Reinke, a second by Alderman May. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, we have none.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Vitale. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We are in recess.